That's all it is.
Hello.
And so, even
this guy,
this is another evolutionist, even if all the data point to an intelligent designer,
evolutionist, and now he's a creationist.
Is exclusive from science because it is not naturalistic.
Put it on YouTube.
Dr. Scott Todd. That was in Nature magazine, letters to the editor back there in September of 2000. It's not naturalistic, so we can't include anything that has anything to do with God. That means we can be here without God. So atheistic evolutionists then assert there's no creator, designer, God, therefore purposeless, non-directed, accidental, mindless, chance, random processes produce the universe and everything animate and inanimate in it. You are the result of, if you don't believe in God, mindless processes. Here you are. The Big Bang created space and time. That's what the evolutionists say. How can an explosion create space? Doesn't the space have to be there for the explosion to go somewhere? You see, a lot of faith goes into what we believe if we're going to believe in evolution. Now, then, there's this thing called the law of biogenesis. And all that means is only living things give birth to living things. Okay? Life is generated by life. Life begins with life. All things that are alive come from something that was alive. The Living World textbook says cells arise only by a division of a previously existing cell. Okay, sounds good to me. Well, where does life come from? Well, what does the Bible say? The Creator Himself. He says He is the life. Jesus is the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. He is the source of life. So I say, we don't know where this life comes from. They haven't been able to make it happen. Lifeless chemicals cannot generate life. They just can't do it. Well, condensed chemicals organize themselves into a living, reproducing cell. They used to think you could get life started from amino acids just in our environment. Then they realized the amino acids will not bond into proteins in the presence of oxygen. So that's when Stanley Miller came along and the Miller-Urey experiments that some of you have heard about. And he says, well, we'll do a reducing atmosphere. No oxygen. And so he put some things. It was ammonia and methane, water vapor, and hydrogen. And he puts them in there and he sparks it. By the way, no oxygen. Does water vapor have oxygen? There's a little bit of cheating on the experiment there, I think. But anyway, no oxygen. What did he get? He got some amino acids. Sure enough, they're called the building blocks of life. Except his amino acids were in equal amounts. Amino acids come out left and right-handed. They're like mirror images of each other. He got an equal amount of both, which is poison to life. Because if you're alive, you are 100% left-handed amino acids. All of life is left-handed, not a right-handed one in there. You throw a right-handed one in there, rigor mortis sets in, okay? You get sick and die. So you're going to be 100% left-handed. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means, yeah, he got his amino acids, but he said there's no oxygen. Now, if there's no oxygen, that means no ozone layer. If there's no ozone layer, that means if he did get life, it would be crispy toast in just an instant. Also, there never was a reducing atmosphere on planet Earth, meaning no oxygen. The oldest rocks have lots of oxygen, oxidation in it. They have CO2, lots of oxygen history in the oldest rocks. So the whole thing here was just an idea. Now, by the way, they're still working on that idea. And Dr. Stanley Miller is still alive, as I understand it, still working on these kinds of things. But now they know, this is my lifetime, now they know you can't get life started without oxygen. So that's when they put it under the water. Oh, life started under the water, in that primeval ocean. So it can't start in the presence of oxygen, it can't start without oxygen, so let's put it under the water. That'll take care of it. Can life start underwater? Well, no, it can't. Why? Because of a thing called hydrolysis. That's your 10th grade science book. What is hydrolysis? Well, that's the action of water on things like proteins. And it acts like a corrosive. It acts like a rust. It breaks them down. And so a college textbook, Life, 4th edition, McGraw-Hill, page 341, says this. In an aqueous, watery environment, hydrolysis is more likely to occur than its opposite reaction, dehydration, synthesis. Dehydration means you get the water out. Well, how can you get the water out when you're in water? You see, so that makes sense. Hydrolysis breaks down chains of amino acids and nucleotides faster than they can form, countering the buildup of long chains. Well, that means you can't start life underwater. So what have we learned here then? That you can't originate life in oxygen. Life cannot originate without oxygen. Life cannot originate in water. How did life originate? We're only left with one option. In the beginning, God. Genesis 1, verse 1. That's the only option we're left with, and that's why this issue is so critical and crucial, and there's such a battle going on in our culture today, because it all comes back to God. And there are people that just don't want the idea of God. Why? Well, Romans 1 tells us, because they are ungodly and unrighteous. Now, some of them are very nice people. Now, we're talking about their soul.